Eyewitness News. We have a complete timeline. I wanted to do a complete timeline of what's been going on with the Gabby, am I saying it right, Petito story.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of people might not know exactly how that whole thing has broken down. I knew I was getting like bits and pieces of it here and there. So I'm going to do a complete timeline of it if you guys will indulge me for a second here. So, from ABC 7 Eyewitness News, here is a complete timeline for the Gabby Petito story. Okay, so as of July 2nd, 2020, Gabby Petito announced her engagement to Brian Laundrie on Instagram. On December 11th, 2020, Gabby announced on Instagram that they have purchased a garden on wheels. July 2nd, according to Petito's family attorney, the pair had gotten engaged but postponed their wedding plans because of the coronavirus pandemic and decided to take their trip instead. They were driving Petito's white 2012 Ford Transit van, which, according to one of Laundrie's posts on Instagram, they converted to the interior to allow them to camp and cook meals inside of as they traveled. According to their social media posts, the pair traveled from Florida to Kansas, Colorado, and Utah, touring and camping at several national parks and attractions. See, as of July 4th through August 11th, they took their journey. They On July 4th, it was Monument Rock in Kansas. On the 8th, it was Colorado Springs, Colorado. On the 10th, Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve, Colorado. July 16th, Zion National Park in Utah. July 21st, Bryce Canyon National Park in Utah. July 26th, Mystic Hot Springs, Utah. On July 29th, they made it to Canyonlands National Park in Utah. And on the 12th of August, Arches, Arches National Park in Utah. Also on the 12th of August, an altercation in Moab City, Utah. Police had an encounter with Petito and Laundrie, and the pair was described as having engaged in some sort of altercation. Laundrie and Petito are described as having gotten into a physical fight, but reported that they are in love and didn't wish to see anyone charged with the crime. On the 25th of August, they were last known to be in Grand Teton, or if I'm saying it right, Wyoming,
Teton.
Teton, Wyoming, heading towards Yellowstone National Park. A spokesperson for the North Park, Florida Police Department told CNN on Tuesday, someone who's been traveling on and contacting the family, and then all of a sudden it went dark, and that's obviously odd. On the 30th of August, last communications with the family, Petito's mother, Nicole Schmidt, said that the last text message she received from her daughter came on August 30th. She said she was unsure if it was her daughter actually sending those texts. The text messages read, "Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemail and missed calls." The reference to Stan was regarding her grandfather. Per the mother, she never called him Stan. That was something that I really paused on when I read that. So on September 1st, Laundrie returned to the North Point without Petito. September 11th, family reports Petito missing. When police in Florida knocked on Laundrie's door that night, his parents handed them a lawyer's phone number. September 15th, Laundrie's was named a person of interest. On the 16th, Northport press conference with the father Petito family. They read their letter. On the 16th and 17th of September, Laundrie's sister speaks to Good Morning America. Cassie Laundrie broke her silence in an exclusive interview with Good Morning America, saying, "Obviously, me and my family want Gabby to be found safe," she said. "She's like a sister, and my children love her. And all I want is for her to come home safe and sound, safe and found, or maybe that meant safe and sound, and this to be just a big misunderstanding." September 17th, Laundrie's family reports Brian missing. September 18th, dual searches for Petito and Laundrie take place. The 19th, the body of Petito was found in Wyoming, believed to be Gabby Petito. Laundrie has been identified as a person of interest in the case. He was last seen by his family in Florida on Tuesday, and investigators have been searching for him. The 20th, Laundrie's family had home was searched. Police and FBI, armed with the warrants, with search warrants swarmed the Florida home of Brian Laundrie, shared by his parents. September 21st, the autopsy confirmed that it was Gabby Petito. And that is what we know so far. I know that was long. I'm sorry. I just wanted to get all of that out because it was important that if you don't know the whole breakdown, I know I went a little fast on it, but that is the breakdown of what we know so far as of right now. But has there been any new, first off, let me get you guys' thoughts on that whole timeline, on the whole situation. Do we have anything to add? Was there anything that just happened before we went live?
I'm not aware of any new advancements in the story.
So I haven't heard anything new either, but I have been following it and I've watched a few of the videos that people have posted online. Mm-hmm. And one of the ones that really struck me was they had one of the police were called to their location. They had a fight, and I don't know where it fits on the timeline, but they had the police cam footage of it.
Yeah.
And you could
Moab City, right? That's that altercation.
Yeah, that one. So you could hear her speaking and then him speaking, and you could hear her just self-blaming everything, how it's her fault. She's been the problem. She's not giving him enough space. She's being erratic and just OCD about putting everything away and keeping things clean. And, she's just, the whole thing, she's sobbing and shaking, and
like
she's
trying not to upset him.
Yeah. And he's standing there cool as a cucumber, very annoyed. And you can tell that he is just upset. Like he's pissed off, and she's just crying and shaking and saying, no, everything's okay. Everything is my fault. It's all my fault. Everything is my fault. He did nothing, trying to take the heat off of the situation, where obviously somebody else called the police after hearing their arguments.
Right.
And I could just see her and see that, and I hate to say it like this, but see that victim mentality. And obviously I don't know them personally to say what their relationship was like, but everything is just so suspicious. Like, why would he show up and then be AWOL? Like, his family don't know where he is,
I don't believe that well, maybe they don't know now, but I 100% believe that they helped him get away. Like when you go, that's why it was important for anybody who doesn't know the whole story, that to read the timeline, because if you're interested in the story at all, go and look into the details of it, because the point where he first came home after days of not even mentioning that she was mm-hmm. missing, he drives all the way back home alone, comes home and doesn't have any explanation for where she is after her family asks.
And nobody asked, why wouldn't they go, well, where is she?
I think during that time when he wasn't a person of interest, that's when they decided to cover his butt and try to, I don't know, get as much cash as possible. And he was planning on this disappearing act while he was still not a person of interest. And I have a personal story on it. I'll add that in there. But before I go into that detail, what about you said, Amy, you said you only know what we've just talked about right now. So there hasn't been, what are your thoughts overall on this whole situation though?
I mean, I don't want to play, armchair detective, because I feel like it usually ends real bad when the internet tries to do that. Mm-hmm. But I can't think of a scenario, even giving him as much benefit of the doubt as I am capable of, which frankly is not a ton, but in the interest of, I don't know what happened here.
Yeah.
I cannot think of.
It's not a good look.
Well, I can't think of a scenario in which someone you love, someone you care about. I just think for me, if my partner went missing, there is not a version of that. Look, I can understand you need to lawyer up. This looks bad for you. And I get it. You were going to want to go through your lawyer, but that you wouldn't, through your lawyer, talk to the police, even if you knew nothing.
Right.
Just to come forward and go, I'm going to give you the information I have. If that has even if you fought with this person, even if you're angry with this person, there's no scenario where you don't come forward and try to say something. I can't think of a reason for that is not fucking sociopathic. Yeah. That is insane to me. that's someone you loved, someone you're engaged to, you wouldn't have it in you to go, I'm going to get a lawyer and protect myself. But my God, if I know anything that can help,
that'll help. Yeah. They were.
So these two individuals, just to go into the comments, these two individuals are YouTubers. They talk about their van life and their travels around the country. So that's how they're in the public eye. So that's why we're talking about them there. But like they didn't even know she was missing until he showed up without her.
Right. He drove all the way from like Utah to Florida without saying anything.
Yeah. So nobody reported her missing. Like he obviously was the last one with her. If he didn't do it or had no involvement in it, he would have reported her missing as soon as she was missing and not drive literally across the country to his family's house to go, what do I do? Or can I have some money? And I'm not going to tell you anything. So that way you have, legal benefit of the doubt. So it's insane.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I feel like it's only a matter of time before, there's only a couple of ways this could end. It's either going to be with an arrest or something worse for him. But
eventually he will be found.
What?
I said, eventually he will be found. There's no way in this modern age to actually really disappear anymore, unless you're going to, a country without technology.
Yeah.
Which how would he get out of the country? He wouldn't be able to.
I've heard rumblings of people saying, I hope he didn't off himself, because that would be, I think, like an ultimate just.
Yeah. That's the ultimate thing. And that was kind of the thing I was getting to with a personal story. So like, not to go, because I know I don't want to go over an overtime. I know we try to keep it into I'm trying to keep it to a tight 30 minutes, but real on a personal level, on my father's side, I have an uncle that I love very, very much, but he went through a very similar situation where he was him and his girlfriend were doing like drugs or something like that together, and he just, from what we understood, he just had a very bad like reaction to it. He just freaked out, and he hurt his girlfriend, and she died. And during the investigation, when his version of it was, people broke in and they must have killed her, and that's what, the police didn't arrest him that night or anything like that. He after they made their investigation and everything and whatnot, then later on he became a person of interest. But by the time when he realized that, the whole time when he was just a person of interest and he wasn't turning himself in, before he turned himself in, he was trying to convince his mother, my grandmother, I couldn't have done this. You have to believe, he was in that mentality where he was just trying to convince anybody he could tell that version of the story. But it's just that the evidence wasn't pointing to that. There was no forced entry. There was nothing there. So it just the evidence was going where it was going. And then in the end, he was so afraid. I guess I only imagine that he was so afraid of facing what he went through or what he did, that he took his own life. And that's so a lot of this. It feels familiar to me on that. I just feel like those, like I said, there's only one or two ways that this could actually go down, like either that or an arrest. So I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to just her family just getting like closure, because that's the one thing that I keep thinking about, like the whole the disappearing and not giving anybody any answers. That people need closure. So.
I think, I'm very curious, feels like the wrong word, but I think we're all kind of waiting to hear, like, if anything is found definitively during that autopsy report, because I think that could tell a lot of the tale of what actually happened here. But yeah.
Exactly.
Just such a tragic situation. Regardless.
Exactly. Yeah. At least we'll know what happened to her physically. But I mean, in situations like these, and I am one of those horrible people that like to listen to a lot of podcasts that talk about murders and bad things that happen all over the country. And I think most of the time you don't really get that closure of an answer to as to exactly why he did it, or what set him off, or who did it, or how, because a lot of times they don't include that information. And really what all you have is what happened to her physically. And so you won't see all the other sides of the abuse and how it got to the point that it got to, or if it even did, or if it was a spur of the moment thing or an accident happened, but it's very suspicious that he would run if it was an accident, that he wouldn't report her missing and that nobody knew. And then her text messages about her grandfather, where, I mean, obviously to me, if you look in abusive situations, people trying to reach out for help, they're going to send messages because they're being monitored. They're going to send messages that are odd and hoping that their family or hoping that their friends realize that these things are odd and reach out to them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's a horrifying situation anyway around it.
Yeah. Oh, guys, I know we're long on that one, but let us know what you guys think about that, and we'll talk about it maybe some more as it develops in the future. Dan, in the chat room, Daniel Walker says, I don't believe he'll be taken alive, and the parents probably have a wad of cash, and their days gave him a head start. And I believe you. I believe that as well. That's what I believe. Like I said, I don't know. Like Amy said, we're only speculating at this point, but it just, all the evidence just points.
There's no good reason to not, because even if, again, like just trying to put myself in that position,
right? If
my partner died in an accident, it's like, I don't care how bad I look. Like his family deserves closure.
Right.
Like I will risk what I have to risk to deal with this.
Exactly.
But ultimately, if it was an accident, that means that declares innocence right there in itself. So an accident is an accident, and it's not, premeditated murder. It's not, spur of the moment murder or anything like that. It's an unfortunate event. And if something like that happened, if there was an unfortunate event where an accident happened that caused her to, get so hurt, you would think that immediately calling the police or, something like that would have happened. But in this case, nobody knew anything happened to her until he was away from Utah, where she was found, to where he was in Florida.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was like, what, a couple of weeks after he was in Florida where they didn't, they couldn't find her. And then they said she must be missing.
Right.
So he didn't even say anything.
Yeah. It just makes you go bonkers trying to figure it all out. Like it's at this point, it's about closure. They found her. Now it's just about like you guys
closure
were saying,
and justice.
I would justice, say. Closure, the details, all those things. And depending on his mentality, even if he's found and convicted of this crime, he still might go out like denying it or refusing to give closure. He might not decide to give the full story until, I don't know, years from now, if ever. But I'll keep monitoring. And there's a lot to talk about it. I'll go into more details on it a little later, maybe on other social media platform. So just keep following us on T3 Medias and I'm gonna dive further into the story a little bit later, but we'll move on to I guess more sad news on it. So
our supporters help make all this content possible, so make sure you check out our Patreon page so you can help us bring you the content you want.
Push the pedal to the freaking metal. I'm turned up just like heavy metal. Yo. Turned up on another level. Push the pedal to the freaking metal. I'm turned up just like heavy metal.